Hello and welcome to Inside Line. I'm Stephen Otley and I'm joined by David McCowan. Now this week we'll take a look at the unusual new places you can buy a car, the latest car brand to join the Cap Price Servicing Club, and look at the issue of reversing safely. But first it's time for our internet burnout. Now we're all warned of the dangers of using your mobile phone while driving. But David, it seems this guy hasn't got the message.
No, it's an important message too. We all do need to be careful. Hopefully we can have a bit of a laugh at this and take something away, and that it's important to keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, exactly. Now, last week we had another tragic death of a toddler in a driveway accident. Now, although more and more car companies are offering reversing cameras as standard equipment, it isn't a magic bullet, is it, Dave?
No, it's certainly not. Reversing cameras are an important piece of technology that drivers can use, but you really do have to be aware of your surroundings. Things like parking sensors can help, and there's no substitution for really using your own eyes and seeing what's around the car.
Yeah. We're getting more and more tools to help us, and Infinity's got another tool which, potentially could help in this situation.
Yeah, that's right. Infinity is set to introduce technology that can detect something that's moving behind a car and apply the brakes without driver intervention. We've seen similar sort of technology from cars that can stop themselves if there's an object in front of the car, and this will be the first thing that can protect people in a driveway.
Well, let's just hope these new technologies can eliminate these terrible accidents. Now, moving on, Mazda has become the latest brand to introduce cap price servicing this week. The Japanese company is a late comer to the party, but they've come with a bit of a surprise. Now, what's the story, Dave?
Well, plenty of car manufacturers offer fixed price servicing over a set period. It might be 3 years, it might be 5. Mazda has gone well beyond that by offering it for the life of the car, which means if you're buying a new car and you're trying to get a bit of a budget going for financing and that sort of thing, you can find out exactly how much the car is going to cost you for the entire time that you own it.
It's a bit of a funny one, though, because only last month they told us they weren't going to introduce it. So, I guess it goes to show how important fixed price servicing is to these brands.
They've said that it's as a result of customer feedback, with basically customers coming along to them and saying, Hyundai offers this, Toyota offers this. People want to know what they're signing up for, and this way there's fewer and fewer hidden costs and making it much more easy for people to buy a new car.
But there's a trick to it, isn't there? Because a lot of these, like you say, there's different service periods, different lengths of the actual cap price servicing, but there's also different service intervals. And so the costs can actually vary greatly, can't they, from brand to brand and even car to car.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the cost-saving measures that Mazda has introduced. Mazda previously required customers to come in every 6 months to service a car, whereas now they've extended that to every 12 months or 10,000 kilometres. So the good news is that if you own a Mazda and you only do 5,000 or 6,000 kilometres a year, you only need to bring the car in once a year for service. And the great news for Mazda customers is that this already applies to people that currently own a current model Mazda.
Yeah. Well, finally this week comes the news that Honda will start to pitch its cars at its motorcycle and power tool stores. Do you fancy a Civic with your whippersnipper?
I might, but I don't think my wife would very much. I think if I popped down to Bunnings to pick up something and came back with a new car, I might get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, basically they're talking about having brochures at, where they sell their Honda lawnmowers and motorbikes, which I guess makes sense in some ways. They're trying to broaden their appeal to they've got quite a big two-wheeled following, so I guess it makes sense to try and preach to those customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And Honda's Australian boss, Stephen Collins, is quite keen to point out that Honda is the only company in the world, really, that can sell you anything from a $200 whippersnipper to a $250,000 sports car.
But we're seeing more and more of this, aren't we? I mean, just last week we've heard Tesla has confirmed they're coming back to Australia and actually going to open up their Tesla stores this time, as opposed to just selling their cars like they did last time around. So what's the story here? These stores, they're more like an Apple store you see in a shopping mall rather than on an auto alley. Particularly
overseas, there are quite a few car companies offer these boutique stores that offer quite a different shopping experience to your conventional roadside car dealership. Tesla is set to introduce them in Australia, which should go well with its clientele of fairly wealthy people that are quite fashionable and into their technology. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, eh? Well, that's it for Inside Line this week. As always, stay tuned to drive.com.au for all your latest motoring news, reviews and videos. Thanks for watching.